I miss the old nakuma. Now, I don't know if this is a thought that you guys have ever had in your time or at all ever watching me, but it has pretty much become my own self mantra over the past year and a half. I constantly look back at those old times of my streaming career very fondly. I look at them a lot more with I don't know if it's rose tinted glasses or if it was actually there, but I felt different. I felt motivated. As long as I can remember at this point, but if I had to give it a general date, I'd say around maybe 14 years old to 15. I have struggled with like constant bouts of just depression, and I've tried to be open as much as I can on stream about my struggles with mental health, but it over just the past month, the past year, the semi infrequently bouts and struggles with it have become frequent bouts and struggles with it. What used to go from once a year things to, you know, bi-yearly to once a month became once a week, became twice a week, became almost the entire week. And I'm at a point where I feel I almost struggle to find a feeling that is not just depression and not just like misery. And you guys may be wondering then why are you here telling me this? Why are you here on stream saying all this shit? Like, you know, are we supposed to care, this and that? I decided to do this stream because I always found it very comforting when somebody I watched a lot and somebody I looked up to would come out and talk about their struggles and how, you know, they, whether it was this or that, whether I could relate or not, it allowed me to know that I wasn't so alone in my struggles with these problems. Because for anyone who's struggled with anything, you know, one of the worst feelings is the feeling of isolation. Feeling that you're so utterly alone and so utterly helpless that not even a single person in the rest of the world could even begin to relate to what you're going through. So that's why I'm here. I don't know what really sparked it, like the absolute downfall, because of course, like I said, I'd have constant bouts and struggles with depression, but they've become so frequent to the point where it's almost debilitating. I struggle to get out of bed in the morning. I struggle to fold my laundry and put that away. I let my room become just an utter fucking mess 90% of the time, and I'll stare at it, and it only makes me feel so much worse. And I know I'll sit there and I'll go, that'll only take 10 minutes to clean, but I just won't. I will just let it sit there and continue to pile on, because I just almost can't even will myself to get out of my chair or out of my bed to even go begin assessing the problem. And it's gone to the point where I am just so unbelievably miserable 90% of the time that I've almost forgotten what just feeling normal feels like. Just, I don't even want to be happy. I just want to feel normal. I just want to not sit here and feel nothing or just absolute despair because that's what it is a lot of the time. It's not a feeling of pure misery, you know, quote unquote depression. It's a feeling of just nothing. I feel hollow on the inside. It genuinely feels like my vision like fogs out, and I just zombify through the rest of the day just to push to be able to sleep. And that goes into stream as well. I feel like you guys have probably been able to tell some streams I'm just not there. I'm just not up to par. And those are those days. And sometimes I'm able to push through it and still be able to make something I deem not complete utter dog shit. But for the past almost year and a half, I can't remember making a stream that I would have been so truly and utterly happy with that it's continued to make me want to push forward. To me, it almost feels like and it scares me to say this because I don't want it to be true, but I know deep down it is. I think the only reason I've continued to push for streaming and to continue to want to grow and this and that is because of the sunk cost fallacy. At this point, I've spent so much money and I've spent so much time trying to build up this community and this account and just anything around surrounding it that it would feel like a waste to just give it up and walk away. And I have almost given it up and walked away many times. Whether it was one of the hiatuses I went on where I considered not coming back, or just an egregiously bad day that I couldn't will myself to hit the go live button, and I figured I don't know if I could do this every fucking day. And this is not to say I hate streaming. I do still enjoy it. But I'd say very rapidly, almost like I could feel it, like when you get a bruise and you can feel it slowly stop hurting. I felt the passion for streaming yet almost sucked out of my body. I don't know what caused it. I don't know why this happened, but it feels like I could just go live anytime and just have the best time imaginable. I felt on my feet. I felt witty. I felt like I could come up with jokes that were my own and not just repeated sex jokes or a joke I heard another streamer make that I then rehash into my own, which is how I feel currently. I sit through a VOD to find clips or this and that, and it's just, I feel nothing. I feel disappointed, if anything, because I feel like I can do better. I know I can do better. I did better, but I just can't anymore. And it's just, I guess it's one other thing that just stacks onto the feeling of feeling just utterly useless. But outside of streaming, I feel like things just haven't gone any better. I remember when I first started working the job, my IRL job that I still work today. I'd look at my coworkers who were all just miserable old people, and I'd say to myself, I don't want to become like that. I will actively fight against becoming like that. I didn't want to be jaded. I didn't want to be miserable. I didn't want to feel like this. And so I made it my goal, practically, to wake up every morning with a smile on my face and walk into that building and fight against this feeling, to fight against the negativity and just feel more positive than they are feeling. And I lost. I lost miserably. I now feel jaded and just as miserable as they do. I feel lost and afraid. I feel very afraid of the future. As some of you guys may know, in about a year, I'll be moving to Japan. And that terrifies me more than it excites me now. Because if these feelings of depression don't subside, if they don't go away, how the fuck am I going to manage to live in a different country so far away all on my own? And it scares me because at this point, I feel like I'm too far in to back down. And this isn't to say I don't want to go. I definitely do. But I spent 3 years living in my parents' house, practically paying $0 in rent. And I've told pretty much everyone in my life that this is the plan and that this is how it's going to go. And the expectations from everyone around me, they scare me. Very, very, very much. I'm going to talk a little bit about my personal life and see if I can explain where I'm coming from. In my family, I'm the second oldest to an older brother. My older brother dropped out of high school when I believe he was 16 years old. Might have been even younger. And he never got along well with my father, who I love my father and I still talk to him pretty much every day. But this falling out and then dropping out of school, and I don't think my older brother has seen my father in, if I had to guess, probably the last 10 years. And this has caused my father to disown my older brother, and he has told me that. And this feels like it has then just amounted an extra set of pressures onto me from my dad, my grandma, my grandpa, going, okay, well, you have this big dream. You succeed where your brother failed. Which I don't think my brother did fail. I think a lot of things went wrong for him to be in the position he is right now. But that's not my place to talk about any of that. But I love him. But that has not just put a lot of strain on me. It feels like it's put a rift between my family, basically. Which I have felt this rift between my family way earlier, before my brother ever stopped talking to my dad. Living between my mom's and dad's as a kid, I would go from my dad's house where things were run one way and they talked about these things and that things, and my dad's side of my family would shit talk my mom. And then the next week I would be thrown out my mom's house where the morals and the way things were done were completely different, and my mom would shit talk my dad. I grew up feeling like I had to play two different characters. I felt like I had to side with my dad and then side with my mom. Every single week I would have to change this mask and play it for a week straight, and just do that every single day of my life for almost 16 years. I did that until I was 16. I think actually it might have been 17. I don't remember exactly. Which, for those of you guys who do not know, I'm only 20 years old, so that was a majority of my life I did this. And the only thing that really stopped was they stopped shit talking each other so openly. And I stopped going between my parents' house 1 week at a time and started doing 2 months. I now spend 2 months at my mom's, 2 months at my dad's. And it has allowed me to feel like I can develop more and stand up for myself a little more. But even then, that doesn't end the family problems. I feel like I was slapped with two really bad hands. Most people either have mommy issues or daddy issues. I sincerely believe that I have both. My father, for anyone who doesn't know, or maybe thought I was joking when I said it, is physically disabled. He got into a workplace accident just before my older brother was born. And it has left his back just in constant pain. He can't really get up to do much. And when he does, he is in a lot of pain. This just, it left me feeling very envious as a kid. I always wished that I could have a father that could go out and play games with me, or, you know, I didn't have to beg for a week to go out and see a movie, and every day it was nakuma, my back hurts too much, I can't this today. And sometimes it would go on until the movie was out of theaters, and it hurts. And I don't blame my father for it, not at all. I don't think I even blamed him back then. But it was just something that made me feel so envious of everybody else. Why did everybody else I know in my life have a normal father? A father that could walk around, run. And when we'd have, you know, family events at school, it was a mixed bag whether my dad would be there. And most of the time he wasn't. And don't get me wrong, he tried. But he just couldn't. And to have everyone else with both of their parents, even kids with divorced parents, both their parents would show up, but not my dad. And it hurt a lot as a kid. And I don't know the traumatic effects that put onto me as a kid. All I can say is there's something there. Now, my mother, her and I have just never seen eye to eye. I don't think ever since I was a kid we have. And that's caused us not to fight a lot, but just to drift away. And I always felt that as a kid, I could tell I wasn't my mom's favorite. And this isn't to say my mom treated me poorly or anything. My mom honestly did a lot for me and my siblings growing up to give us a very good childhood, because we grew up in pretty extreme, like, I don't know if extreme is the right word, but it was not good poverty. There were a couple times where there was one time where we were homeless, and a couple other times where we almost became homeless. But my mom always did the best to, you know, take us to places and give us things that we wanted. And I appreciate that a lot, and I honestly respect her immensely for that. But just the way my mother has gone about certain aspects of raising me and my siblings, and or just carrying herself, and the way she talks and whatnot, has left me, it made me feel for a long time that I didn't have a strong female figure in my life. It was only really when I became closer to my grandma that I truly felt like, you know, now this is a respectable woman who knows what she wants and won't take shit from nobody. And I love my grandma a lot, but I never got that feeling from my mom. And I'm sorry if my mom ever hears this, but that's just how I feel, truly and honestly. And this isn't to say I dislike either of my parents. I do love them both immensely, and I'm very, very grateful to the opportunities and the chances they have given me. But it doesn't mean I can't also be aware of how I feel and how it's affected me and my development into the person I am today. And there's just been a lot of things in my family. I feel like In the grand schemes of things, I was dealt a pretty good hand. Sure, my family was never rich, but we grew up in first world country, where healthcare was free, and I got a lot of things as a kid. I got to play new video games when they came out. I got to go to amusement parks. I got to hang out with my family, and it was great. But I feel like I was also dealt probably the worst hand when it comes to the possibility of mental problems. My father, who also has depression, and it is hereditary. It passed down to my older brother, who is diagnosed, by the way. I don't know if I ever mentioned this, but I am not diagnosed with depression, and I guess I'm self-diagnosing myself, but like, I just kind of know, like, when you feel this way for so long, it just feels like it's a no-brainer that it's like, yeah, there at least a little bit. But with that already in my back pocket, to parents being separated as a kid, to what I described as my family dynamic growing up, to being definitely one of the least favorite kids out of 5. And I guess growing up, I was kind of lucky in one regard, that there's a lot of bad things that happened in my family, like really, really bad things. And I just so happened to miss every single one of them. Whether it was because it happened at my mom's house while I was at my dad's, or vice versa, or by, it happened at someone else's house. But growing up and watching the people you love around you all just be changed, and hearing about what happened, and then, having to look certain people in the eyes afterwards, it does something to you that you can't even understand. For example, and this is the only example I'll give because I don't want to delve too deep into my family life in that regard. My older cousin growing up always had a temper, and he never usually had a healthy way to take it out, but him and I would hang out quite a lot as a kid, and at the time I didn't recognize it, but definitely looking back on it now, I understand it. His way of dealing with his anger and problems was to literally just beat me. I assumed it was just some sort of game as a kid, even though I didn't enjoy it, and I had told him to stop many times. That was his form of taking out anger, was to literally just beat on me. He was probably about a foot taller than me and built like a brick shit house. He lived on a farm his entire life, so he was a way bigger kid than I was. And that was his way of dealing with anger. And of course, that has definitely affected me today. But, my older cousin has gone on to hurt a lot of other people, being, my aunt, his younger brothers, in very, very bad ways, way worse than he hurt me. And then to go to my great-grandma's funeral last week and just have to look him in the eye and pretend that none of it happened while, he hugged me and we cried. It left me feeling off. I didn't enjoy it, but I guess with the emotion and not wanting to cause a scene at my great-grandma's funeral, I didn't say anything about it and just let it happen and then walked away. But there was a lot of events like that growing up, and it left me feeling even more isolated than I did before. I felt like I couldn't understand what was going on, and the family was breaking up and getting together and breaking up, and things were changing, and it fucked with my head a lot, and it made me, as a coping mechanism, isolate myself. And I'd isolate myself from my family, and I'd isolate myself from my friends. And at this point, I feel like I've isolated myself so far that they don't even know about my struggles, about how I truly feel about a lot of things, which makes it even scarier to come out and talk to them, especially with the high expectations I feel weighing on me. I couldn't bring it upon myself to walk up to my father, who's already physically disabled and, you know, never got to live out his dreams, and now his first son has left him and he's disowned him, and tell him, hey dad, I'm horribly depressed and, you know, I just want to give up on everything. I feel like it would crush him, even though I know it probably would be beneficial at the end of the day. It's just, I feel like the emotional strain it would put on him is just too much. I don't need him to feel like he's failed 2 kids. And my mom and I never seeing eye to eye, I couldn't open up to her. I don't know what exactly about it is. I just know that it doesn't feel right. And for a long time, I had tried opening up to my friends, and I never felt seen. It felt like every time I would message them telling them, hey man, I'm at a low, I'm this and that, it felt as though they would shrug it off and just say what needed to be said to get it over with the quickest. You know, tell me, oh, you know, like, I don't know. It felt like I wasn't seen and that they didn't take how I felt seriously. And it didn't help that, and I'm going to be really open for right now. This is something I haven't told many people in my life. But when I was in high school, there was a man who was somewhat associated with my current group of friends. And he sexually assaulted me in school on multiple occasions. He would grab me, force me to grab him, and that was something that deeply affected me, and it changed a lot in my life. Thankfully, it was only ever the last year of high school, so it meant after that I didn't really have to see him again. But I had told my friends this. I had opened up to my friends about it and told them exactly what had happened and how it made me feel. And they continued to talk to him. A lot of my friends, one of my friends lived with him for a bit, shared an apartment with him, even knowing what I had gone through. But me not wanting to be one of those people who have to put up an ultimatum of it's either me or them, I let it slide. But it felt like such a serious betrayal of everything, of all of my friends, because nobody took me seriously. And I don't know if it was because he had convinced them otherwise, I hadn't been convincing or whatnot, but they had just not listened and kept being friends with this guy for a very long time. And he's moved away now, and they don't talk to him nearly as much. And I know at least some of my friends have stopped, like, cut off contact with him completely. But the fact that they didn't right away, it felt like they didn't have my backs. And it felt like betrayal. It felt like they weren't there for me through thick and thin. They were there for whoever could get the quickest giggles. Because, like, he was a funny guy. He had charismatic aspects about him. And it felt like, you know, as long as he could make them laugh, that it didn't matter what he did to me. you could just do it as long as, you know, he had a funny punchline afterwards. And I know that allegedly he had done these things to other people under the guise of jokes, and they didn't mind it. They took it as a joke, but I didn't, and I let him know that, and he continued to do it. I had pushed him off of me many times. I had yelled at him, but him being nearly 1.5 feet taller than me, this guy was massive, and a frequent bodybuilder who just, he looked ripped. He was a massive guy. There was only so much a little guy like me could do. I was terrified of the man, so I put up with it. And I did what needed to be done. And thankfully, it was never pushed to a far extreme. It really was just like on the clothes touching, but it was enough to just, it affected me, and it really, like, I felt betrayed by my friends, and that hurt a lot. But you know, that left me feeling that people didn't see me. They didn't see the struggles I felt, even if I was waving it in their face. Because I remember mentioning to my friends a couple times when I would try and open up about it. I would tell them it feels like I have been doing nothing but screaming for help. I have asked for it time and time again. I have begged for it practically. Nobody even bats an eye. It feels like they go, oh, Nakuma's having a moment. Let's, you know, tell him we're there for him and we love him, and then move on so we can just ignore it again. And that's how it felt every single time. And I finally did decide to try and reach out and start therapy. Me living in a really small town, I didn't really know where to go. We don't really have like therapist offices around here. So I tried online therapy. And how it went was I paid $180 for a quote-unquote consultation. And what happened was I was paired up with this doctor, and she messaged me saying, you know, oh, hello, whatever. And I messaged her back, hello. And she's like, are you free at around 1 o'clock? I didn't respond to the message in maybe 5 minutes because I hadn't seen it, or maybe I had seen it. I don't remember if I was at work or not, whatever. And she had just ended it and charged me $180 for that. So then I had to spend the next like day and a half contacting support to get my refund. And that was my first ever experience with therapy. And I remember this morning was really rough for me. I was very miserable this morning. And I'd contacted a Canadian hotline that is on the official Canadian website too, for young adults in need of help for mental health. And I messaged them and I told them how I'd been feeling down, and they're like, oh, I see, you know, this, that. And they ended the conversation. They didn't even bother trying to help. They were like, oh, I see, so this is how you're feeling, and then ended the conversation. And to have that twice happen, it's very demoralizing and doesn't make you really want to reach out for help even more. And it just feels like, where am I to turn? What am I to do? What? At this point, am I just stuck to do it myself? Now, for the past like 40 minutes, I've basically just talked about myself and how things have happened to me, or, you know, whatever. And it may make it just seem like I'm a victim of circumstances, but I'm not. I am definitely not. A lot of this misery that I felt has been brought upon myself by myself. And this comes down to, I believe, 3 separate things. And I'll talk about them a little bit. Actually, yeah, 3 things. Growing up, and even to this day, Um, I have suffered with a pretty bad eating disorder. I don't know what spurred this eating disorder as a kid, because I've never had really body confidence issues, at least not in terms of weight or how much I eat. Not self-conscious to eat. Just something about eating, my brain just goes, no, you don't have to do it. And I just don't want to. I will be starving and in physical pain, and I will just not eat because I don't even know what the mental block is, but I just can't even get myself to want to eat. So I will just starve. And as a kid, I used to just starve for 3 or 4 days until, you know, eventually, like, I felt like I had no choice but to eat. And I still, this follows me up into adulthood, where I do still have to force myself to eat a lot of the time. And I'll sit here starving. There's been streams there that I do where the entire thing, I am in physical pain because of how unbelievably hungry I am. And I will sit there for 8 hours, not eat a damn thing, and then go right to bed. And that's followed me since I was a young kid. I remember having this all the way back in elementary school. I don't know what my complex is with eating, but I just don't. And it has definitely made me pretty miserable, because it just, like, you feel unwell, you feel tired, you feel drained all the time, and it's definitely fucked with me a lot. But I've slowly been able to work on that one. The next two things, definitely not. Growing up as a kid, I, to put it in the bluntest terms, was a bully. I was a big bully. And that's just how it was. I didn't recognize it at the time, but I would hurt the people around me, and because I guess I wanted attention, I wanted this or that, I don't know exactly, but I was a bully. I would physically hurt my friends at school. I would verbally berate them, and I did that for a very long time. I was not a very good person growing up, and now that I've grown up and I look back at that time with a lot of regrets, wishing I treated people better. And it has created this feeling of self-loathing and just disgust with myself and my past actions. And it has left me just feeling as though I am beyond the point of redemption, as though I don't deserve redemption, as though worse things should be happening to me so I can repent for what I did for others. I've had this thought many times where, you know, I'll be feeling really down and I'll think, man, I just need to get my ass kicked. I just need worse things to happen to me so I can truly feel the way I made others feel. I don't like to have a brain that doesn't think like, oh, you know, maybe I should trying to be happier or treat other people better. It's no, you need to be punished. This isn't enough. You haven't repented for what you've done. And the thing is I feel like, you know, I probably have. I've changed a lot as a person. I'm completely unrecognizable from the person I was at the age of 12. And I mean, I was a kid too, but it's also like, it was me at the end of the day. I did it. It was me, Nakuma. But it never feels like it's enough. And it always feels like I have to keep punishing myself and go further, and that I'm just beyond the point of redemption. And it's just, I live with a lot of regrets. And the third thing that has definitely not helped with my feelings of depression is addiction. I am a person that gets addicted to things very easily, and once addicted has a very, very hard time putting them down. Even if I can sit there while even doing the thing and recognize how harmful it is for me and how much I almost don't even enjoy it, I can't stop myself. Over the past 20 years, I have picked up at least 3 separate addictions. 3 that have continued on for more than, a year, and has become a part of my pretty much everyday life at this point. And those would be, of course, video games. I do enjoy video games quite a bit. Pornography and nicotine. Those 3 have become my crutches. I play video games. I feel like I don't do it nearly as much anymore, but I do remember there was one Christmas break when I was in high school where all I did was play video games. I fucking barely left my room to do anything else. Like, I would just play video games all the time. And I remember not being very happy throughout that entire Christmas break. And I remember I was playing Sekiro, and I sat there, and I was in like the Cherry Blossom Castle. I can't remember what the fuck it's called. It's like at the end of the game. And I just stood there looking over the very beautiful area, and I just stared there. And I just put down the controller, and I was like, I fucking hate playing video games. I don't know why I'm doing this. Like, I'm not having fun. But it's better than sitting there and feeling nothing. The other addiction, which has also led to pretty bad life-altering events, has been pornography. I've talked about many times on stream about my disdain for pornography, and that holds true. I think porn is very bad for people, and the reason I believe that is because I feel like it was horrible for me. I knew what sex was at a very young age. My dad was a little too unabashedly not afraid to teach his kids about anything they asked. And so when I asked what sex was at a very young age, he explained it, and he explained in full. And so that meant when I was then around 10 to 11 years old, I might have even been younger, I don't exactly remember, but I'll put the age at around 10. I found my stepdad's porn magazines in the bathroom, and almost pretty much since that day, I have looked at porn almost every single day of my life. And it has genuinely had one of the worst lasting effects on my mental health out of anything ever to happen. It has affected the way I view relationships and sex as a whole. It has affected just my ability to be happy. I have definitely fried the fuck out of my dopamine receptors. Just absolutely frying them to hell and back. And I don't even like it. I don't enjoy looking at it. I don't enjoy, masturbation. I just don't enjoy any of it. But that has not stopped me from doing it every single fucking night of my life. It is the hardest addiction of mine to break. I feel like I have and I can put down video games when I realize that it's becoming a problem. And I'll tackle this one in a bit, but nicotine, I was even able to quit that for a bit when I truly felt it affecting me. But porn is one of those things where I just have not been able to put it down. I don't know what it is about it, and I have tried. I have tried installing blockers on my phone. I have tried, just not even looking at my phone. I have tried this or that, and I can't. something about it just can't, like, I cannot stop myself. And the third addiction of mine is nicotine. I've talked about on stream about how you guys would have heard I used to smoke, and that would have been true about 3 weeks ago until I picked it up again when my great-grandmother passed away. I remember it was the day my great-grandmother passed away. I went on a walk. It was a nice long walk, and it ended with me at a store, and I bought cigarettes for the first time in a while. And I've now been smoking pretty much every day since then. And this one's a bit of a weird addiction. I realize that it is an addiction, and I know smoking is really bad for your health. But weirdly enough, I enjoy it. I think I just have like the oral fixation, haha, funny blowjob, whatever. But something about the act of smoking is enjoyable to me. And I mean, the nicotine also makes you feel good. It gives you that little bit of a buzz. But I still recognize it as an addiction. But those three have really been my vices. And they've done nothing to make me happier. And at this point, I don't even know what I could do to try and make myself happier. Streaming, which was my escape from how I felt for a long time, has now just felt like it became part of the dull routine. It used to be the thing that at work I was literally so giddy, and I mean giddy in a childlike sense, where I couldn't even contain how excited I was to just come home and play anything at all, or talk for 8 hours straight and do the dumbest shit ever. I was excited. I was ecstatic to do it, and I genuinely felt like butterflies in my stomach, a fire in my heart, a passion for streaming. And now it's just kind of like, well, I guess I'm going live tonight. And as I said earlier, I don't hate streaming, but it's just I don't feel that spark in anything in my life anymore. I used to feel that way when I'd pick up guitar and play it, or when I'd listen to some really good music. Now it's just, it's there. It exists. And I've constantly, like, I feel like anyone who's been really downtrodden and not knowing what to do has tried looking up, you know, just on Google, what to do. And a lot of the things is, you know, just slow down and appreciate the small things in life. I don't know what is wrong with me, but I genuinely cannot. I will sit there and just try and just sit out in nature, you know, just enjoy things. And my mind runs a million miles a second, and I just can't enjoy anything. It feels like my brain has become so fucked over the years that I can't enjoy anything. And it's just, more than anything, it's draining. It is so tiring to wake up every single day and do the same thing and just be more and more and more disappointed in yourself at the end of every single day. And that's pretty much how I felt for the past year and a bit. I felt so isolated and so alone, and just filled with so much doubt and a lot of envy. A lot of you guys may know my good friends Hina Hayama and Little Lottie Wanders. And while I do really appreciate what they've done for me and them being there, I do hold a very special place in my heart for them. I have also noticed many times I will almost start one-sided like feuds between myself and them because I am jealous of them, because it feels like we're putting in around the same effort into streaming, and I'm seeing zero results while they just continuously exponentially grow, which I'm also very happy for, because I do think they are very talented and I'm glad they're getting their flowers. But there's also a part of me that is unbelievably jealous, that just wishes, like, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I have that same level of support? And this isn't blame on you guys. I love you guys so much. I would never ask for a different community or for you guys to, you know, change anything that you guys are doing. But it's still something that runs through my mind quite a lot. And that feeling has not helped with my feelings about streaming. And has just led to more feelings of like, well, fuck, why even bother? Nakuma, you haven't even got a single follower in 3 streams. Why even fucking bother? And this isn't their fault. This is my fault. I remember at one point, my jealousy was actually so bad of Ahina, I almost broke off being friends with her. This was around last Christmas. I was very close to, like, and I don't know what had convinced me otherwise, but we were around, you know, just a couple minutes away from having another Lady Reaver message in the Discord saying like, hey, we have decided to split ways. And I'm very thankful that we haven't, because I do really appreciate Ahina's support and just having her around as a friend. Same with Lottie and everyone else, you know, Coco, Sigil, Hayes, Mizu, Najem. Just having them all around, it does feel nice, but I'm just a very jealous person at the end of the day. I don't know what to do about any of it. I guess my biggest problem is I feel all these things and I have no idea how to cope with them in a healthy way, and I have no idea who to talk to or even where to even begin to look for help. And there's just this and that, and I don't know, I'm just alone and afraid, I guess, is the easiest way to put it. And now you guys may be sitting here, if anyone's fucking still here, wondering like, okay, Nakuma, why tell us all of this? Why any of it? And aside from the fact that I mentioned that, you know, it made me personally feel better when streamers and YouTube people that I watched talked about their problems, and me wanting to, you know, I guess pass on that candle, I wanted to make a vow to you guys. Now, I can't vow that by tomorrow I will be different. I can't vow that I will be a changed man tomorrow. I can't even vow that I won't trip and stumble back. But I want to vow to you guys, because I need somebody to hold me accountable for change. And I want to change. I don't know how much longer I could keep on living the way I do. It is self-destructive and toxic. And I have become my own worst enemy. And I hate it. I hate living the way I do. I hate treating myself the way I do, and I hate that then spilling over to the way I treat the people around me, and especially you guys. I feel like there's been many times where I have lost my cool with you guys, and I have gotten like pretty upset, and I don't blame you guys at all. This has just been, I was having a bad day and I got angry, and I apologize. Especially to the 2 people who I see are still in chat right now, Mr. Anana and Hussein. I feel like you guys have definitely gotten it pretty bad. Um, I don't know. I guess you guys just know how to push my buttons sometimes, which I guess is also pretty funny. But it's also like sometimes when I'm having a bad day, I've definitely noticed that I've lost it on you guys very hard. And I want to make a vow to you guys that I am going to change. I want to quit all my vices and not have to rely on horrible habits to just make it through the day. And this isn't me saying that from this point on I am never going to watch porn or never smoke or never, you know, play video games again, because first of all, I kind of have to play video games. It's kind of the whole thing with streaming, and I'll probably relapse and, you know, have a bad day. But this is my promise to you guys, that I'm not just making a promise to myself, because to me a promise to myself means fuck all, because who is there to hold accountable? Like, you know, I made it to myself and I broke it myself. I can come up with reasons to justify it for myself. And I'm not saying you guys have to go, hey, Nakuma, porn check, you know, pull out your cock, we need to smell it, so make sure you haven't masturbated. That's not what I'm asking. I don't even, you guys can just forget it after this day. But it's my promise to you guys that I will not, like, continue to wallow in my own misery, and that I want to be better for you guys. And for myself and the people in my life, I want to be better, of course. But I feel like since you guys are so unbelievably kind and amazing, and you guys are there to support me all the fucking time, when I'm feeling down, when I'm there at my highest, when I'm having a good stream, when I'm having a bad stream, you guys are there, and I appreciate it so much. And I feel like it's unfair to you guys to then have this bad side of me have to wallow in my own pity sometimes, and I want to be better. So this is my promise that I will do my best to be better. I will hold back urges. I will work on myself to just hopefully regain that giddiness I felt during the early days of streaming. Just the absolute childlike excitement to get home and just do nothing else but just talk with you guys and stream. And I really do look forward to, you know, getting back to that point. In the meantime, streams will continue in their normal fashion. We got our stream with Mizu tomorrow, and I don't really want to, you know, keep talking about this every stream. That's why I've dedicated this one stream to it. It's like, here is how I'm feeling. It's a way for me to vent and hold myself accountable for the things I've been doing to just make myself feel even worse. And my way to just say thank you, genuinely thank you to everybody, whether you were here for one stream or not, or, you know, this or that. I am so grateful to have you guys here. Since I was a kid, I've always wanted to make content and have a community, and to just have it be you guys, it makes me feel so lucky. I love you guys, and I appreciate everything you guys have done for me. And I don't really have much else to say except I guess let's usher in a new era of Nakuma streams. To me, I've had here's how I compartmentalize the eras of streaming. You had the Nakamura era, which encapsulated the very beginning days. Then there was the Nakuma era, when I switched the models and rebranded. Then there was the Renaissance era, which is when I felt that I was at my peak and most creative, which I would say was, you know, a little bit after the Nyanner's raid. And then there was the fall of Rome, which is pretty much just how I've described it. And then there was the Nakuma 1.0, which was the debut, which just felt like the exact same, but I had a new model, new fresh coat of paint. Now I'm not going to raid into anyone. I feel like this isn't really a stream to raid into anyone afterwards, but Mizu and Lottie are live right now, so if you want to go support my friends, that'd be great. Tell them that Nakuma is being a little whiny baby on stream or some shit. I don't care. And I'm gonna go spend probably the rest of my day playing guitar or chilling in the pool. I don't know yet. I do have a massive putsin that I went and bought just before stream that I haven't eaten. So thank you all for being here for me. And I guess a toast to a new era of Nakuma. Also, I'm thinking Sunday's mystery stream might be drunk karaoke, so if you guys got any songs, make sure to get them ready for me. And I'll see you guys tomorrow when we play Valorant with Mizu. So take care, and just know that you're not alone, and if you're struggling, reach out to somebody. Don't be like me. Don't be stupid. Like, I isolated myself and it only made me feel worse. So don't do that. Treat yourselves better than I treat myself. And I love you all. So goodbye.